Okay, apparently I'm live. And here I am, once again, live. Episode 97. 97. Zeroing in on the three digits, 100, which will be Monday. Now, it could have been timed better if I wanted to, though. Sunday is the full moon, if you're not aware of that. But it's also a total lunar eclipse. So the red moon will appear because it's a 1 hour and 22 minute solar eclipse or lunar eclipse. So that's when the moon turns to blood. So look for that. That should be fun. I always enjoy those. I have a couple pictures of one. Last time I think it was in 22. It was a really, really cool one. The moon was so red. It wasn't even funny. I have a picture of a sunset from New Jersey some years ago. And honestly, it was the reddest. It literally looked like a painting. The moon or the sun moon was so red. It was just bizarre. Like, I was like, is that real? I was like, am I like not looking through a filter? I mean, I'm seeing it with my own eyes, but it was so red. But anyway, lunar eclipse this Sunday along with the full moon, which will be episode 99. So the lunacy and the lunatics will be out and about because, again, remember, lunatic comes from lunar. All right. Get this out of the way. Don't forget this. I know I have not looked at comments, but you have to make comments so I can look at them. I promise I'll do it this weekend. At some point between now and episode 100, I promise I'll look at all the things. And if you made a new comment, I will comment on your comment. Promise. I won't have AI do it. All right. Before I get into my stuff, so I had an interesting day today. So before I get into the normal rock and roll stuff. Now remember, if you haven't been here, I've changed formats. It's less history. It's more rock and roll. It's all the rock and roll stuff. I got rid of the, what today is national. I gave that up. I gave up what National Day is today and tomorrow, so you won't hear that. Less history. More history about music. A little history thrown in if it's really, really pertinent, like something cool that I'm like, oh, I'm interested in that. It's not just something. But less. So it's different. So hopefully you like it more. I'm adjusting. I'm trying. Anyway, here's something interesting that I had to deal with today. Look at that. Make it bigger for you? Sure. That's the door of the radio station. I went down today to go check on some stuff. I had to grab the truck to move some things. And I was like, holy crap, what is that? Yeah, that's the door. So that's a steel plate that is on the door to keep people from doing exactly that. And if you look, you can see right there, I'll circle with a little thing, how much they pried at that door trying to get it open. And man, did they try and get it open. Thankfully, because I'm that guy, there's a deadbolt, a 3-inch deadbolt at the top of that door, at the bottom of that door that goes into the steel frame of the door. So they aren't getting into that door. Trust me. They're not getting into any of the doors because they all have that. I put that in back, I think I did that back in when it was COVID because we weren't in the building so much. So I put deadbolts on everything. Oh no, actually it was when the guy tried to break into the kitchen door. That's what it was. Remember, there was, if you never saw it, I'll show the picture. There's a crowbar that was stuck in the door from someone doing this and they couldn't get the crowbar out. We have the whole thing on video too. Some big guy. I mean, like big lurking person tried to wedge that door open. One more shot and he could have gotten in, but it didn't. The alarm went off. He took off. But anyway, yes, so I had to deal with that today. But then, so what I decided to do was, so I'll pop this up. So I'll go to the next slide. So this is the before picture. That's a picture of the station that is from a couple weeks ago. So you can see right here, this is the fence and the doorway's here. The doorway's down here. It's like 5 stairs that you go down to. You have to walk down to the stairs, so it's protected. Remember, the power's out, so there's no lights on. It's pitch black, so someone had plenty of time to do their best to get down there. But that's where it's at. So you can see there, it's behind this fence, all these bushes, and you can see the sign. Well, here's what it looks like when I left today. As you can see, the bushes would be gone. I cut those all down. The fence is all gone because I took a chainsaw to it and took that all down. The sign is gone because I really just got tired of looking at that and said to that. Now that's gone. So if you want a big sign, I'll sell it. And then the stairs, you can't see it, but I filled it in with water barrels from the flea market and about 1,000 feet of snow fence. So I literally just filled the whole well in like, you know what? Just screw it. I'm just dumping everything in there. Good luck getting in. You're going to have to dig through that crap. And the other doors are not as hidden, and at least a little more visible, but probably hard to get into. So I spent a few hours doing that today. Joy. Love thieves. And I told you last time, I moved the truck because someone smashed the window out of the truck and broke into the truck and ripped off the stereo and the speakers and the extra battery and everything else inside the truck. So now it's just this stripped down hulk of a piece of metal that I just drive to make deliveries and things. And today I recycled broken metal. Anyway, there's my fun for the day. So my shirt is, I notice I do not have my RANDSANITY shirt. This is one of my shirts in the shop that I swear I'll get up at some point when I figure out how to do it. But if you don't know what this stands for, this is DYFJ. Okay? You can imagine. Excuse me. The first night I don't bring something to drink and I'm choking. Can you imagine what it says? DYFJ? Yeah, exactly that. Do your fucking job. I know. Brilliant. Thanks so much. Anyway, my pants are falling down. I forgot my belt. Like I said, the first night I don't have liquid here and I'm choking. All right. So, again, no particular order because I find this at multiple sources. I'll try and get it more unified, but it's only 2 pages tonight because I wrote a little neater. Anyway, let's begin it. 1957, Elvis, our friend Mr. Presley, records Blue Christmas on the state. It's not released, though, until November of 1964. Like 7 years later. For no intentional purpose. I couldn't find out why, but yeah, he didn't release it for 7 years. Who knew? Maybe they didn't like it. Maybe he wasn't feeling blue at Christmas. I don't know. In 1964, the Animals, the band The Animals, and I know you've heard the song, The House of the Rising Sun. There is a house in New Orleans. For some reason that pops up in every time I play any kind of playlist I do through YouTube, because remember, don't pay for music, listen to commercials. I'm okay with that. I'll skip them, but hey, that's what paid the bills for a long time, so I can listen to a commercial and make sure artists get paid. But anyway, the Animals, House of the Rising Sun, started a 3-week run at number 1 in the U.S. And the Billboard charts. It also charted at number 1 in Canada. Makes sense. Finland. Okay, didn't know why Finland. Spain, España, and the UK. Which I was like, all right, that seems reasonable. Because there's Billboard charts in every one of the countries. So that's why last night I talked about something that charted in Russia, actually. So number 1 in Russia. In 1981, Stevie Nicks hit number 1 for her debut solo project, Belladonna. Now, she also hit number 1 in Australia. So that's specific that it was Australia that she hit that for. And remember, that was a really good one because it had a couple of really good singles on that one. I do remember that one. Edge of 17 was a really good one. And also they had Stop Dragging My Heart Around. So that was, again, Stevie Nicks at her finest. Stop dragging my heart around. I know, I can't sing. So, just tell me to shut up and that's all right. Now, I tried to listen to almost every song that I'm previewing tonight and talking about. Best I could. Some I was like, They were called synth pop, which I was like, really? But anyway, Soft Cell. Remember Soft Cell? if you don't, go listen to the song, because who doesn't love Soft Cell? Their song goes on now for a 2-week run at number one in the UK. Now, I didn't realize this until I went and dug a little bit, but Tainted Love, which is that song that, eventually made it a big hit, it was a recording or a cover of Gloria Jones. So she's the one, I listened to her version of it. Gloria Jones did it in 1965, and Soft Cell covered it and then made a hit out of it in 1981. Now, that reminds me, because 1981, I remember when that song came out. That was when we used to go to a club in Staten Island, New Jersey, or New York, called the Rock Palace. Now, this was like, we had to go to the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Verrazano Narrows Bridge to go from New Jersey to New York to get to Staten Island. So we went through a really sketchy part of Staten Island to go to this club. But this was a club that you could go when you were underage. And it was like a huge, like, warehouse rock club. And I just remember, because we would go there some nights, and it was just a crazy, crazy club. The kind of stuff that you would see, like, in movies from New York in the 80s. Like, there's people smashing glass bottles out in the street, and red lights didn't matter because you were out in, like, this warehouse district. So any red lights between, like, when you got off the Narrows all the way to you just ran red lights. It was not a big deal. And, like, driving home, speed limit going over the Narrows late at night, what could you get away with? 90, 100, 110, didn't matter. But yes, I had not thought about the Rock Palace forever. And then I was like, wait, holy crap, that's right. We used to go. Oh man, that was some sketchy stuff. Sketchy stuff you did growing up in New Jersey and New York as a kid back in the 80s. Just telling you. It is not like it is today. There was definitely less guardrails. Much wider. Anyway, I'll move on. That's just my personal stuff. I even had to make a note when I wrote Staten Island Rock Club. Yeah. 1989, Soundgarden. Soundgarden released album number 2, Louder Than Life, or Louder Than Love, on A&M Records. It actually only reached 108 on the Billboard 200. It did not get a lot of critical acclaim. Louder Than Love and Hands All Over. I listened to the one. I was like, yeah, I've heard the song. It's okay. It's definitely not their best. That's the thing. A couple things about Chris Cornell, though, that are interesting. He was a gigantic Beatles fan, like beyond fan. Like, he talked about depression, growing up as a kid and being lonely and everything. And he apparently found a Beatles collection at his neighbor's house. And that's kind of what got him interested in music and rock and roll. Altogether, it was the Beatles. So who knew? You would think Oasis, but no, Chris Cornell, giant Beatles fan. Also, now this was, I didn't realize this one. He co-wrote the theme song for Casino Royale, James Bond, 007, with Mr. Craig, his first film. But it's also was the first male to write and perform a James Bond theme song ever, all the way back dating from the 60s. And I had to listen to it. I was like, oh, I guess I can hear his voice and I could hear the Soundgarden influence, but the song I was like, it was kind of lost me. But I guess it said a worldwide hit. It was a big thing. It says, and the song is You Know My Name. Did not know that. Completely was like, oh, interesting. Did not know that. Little digging found me that one. 1998. More movie soundtracks. Aerosmith went number 1 for their song, which was the soundtrack, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, for the movie Armageddon. And I guess I think about it now, it's like, yeah, that was the Bruce Willis, Armageddon. But that was, Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Who knew? I guess you don't put 2 and 2 together unless you are paying attention. But that was Aerosmith that did that. And I guess it went to number 1 in 10 countries because of the movie. Very nice. In 1998, also Korn with a K hit gold with their third album, Follow the Leader. It was atop of the U.S. In U.S. Billboard, as well as Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. So the Kiwis liked it. So you know you can look so Aussies rockers, Canada rockers, New Zealand rockers. All right, and went into the Korn. You gotta love that one then. 1998, Manic Street Preachers. Hadn't heard that name forever, and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, they were a cool alternative band back in the day. They topped the UK chart. If you tolerate this, your children will be next. I listened to a couple of their songs. I was like, oh yeah, Manic Street Preachers. I haven't heard them forever. They were a band that the station played back in the day. Just, you know, they had some hits, and we played them. But yeah, it definitely was lost on me. I was like, I just, one of those bands I don't think about, like Marcy's Playground, until I think about it. I'm like, oh wait, I loved Marcy's Playground. You have to kind of hear these songs because there was so much music going through the station over the decades that, you know, it just sort of was hard to settle on any single one. And if you don't put in what music you want to hear, algorithms will just push you down that path of, oh, here's what we want you to listen to. Just saying. 2009, Arctic Monkeys. We had the Arctic Monkeys at the station a couple times. They scored number 3, third consecutive number 1 album. Number 3, third consecutive number 1 album in a row in the U.S. In the UK with Humbug in 2009. UK, sorry. Because in the U.S., that one was not critically acclaimed and it only hit 15. It did hit number 1 in Belgium and Ireland, but only 15 in the U.S. I guess we weren't Arctic monkeying back then as much. In 2018, Taylor Swift, number 1, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I really don't. 2019, Ed Sheeran, number 1, blah, blah, blah. Again, don't care. Sorry. I'm not a hater. I just don't know anything about them because I'm really not a Taylor Swiftie or an Ed Sheeran-y. Sorry, just missed that side of the music scene. Just not there. I could talk about Wings. In 1975, they released their single "Letting It Go." How about that one? Or in 1991, MTV Music Awards, the best award went to REM. I have an REM signed guitar. When we saw them at Polaris, I have the REM guitar, the famous REM guitar with Mike Mills and all that good stuff. So, just saying. Okay, see, less pages. So, not as lengthy. Still lengthy, but not as lengthy as 3 pages because I condensed it. I went even further. I literally cut out more of the whole, things. I found 1 death. I literally just went with 1 death tonight. I just looked for like the really important ones. There was no musicians, no things. The only death I found, and this is way out of order again, was Alan Funt. If you don't know that name, he's the guy who did Candid Camera. If you don't know Candid Camera, it was the guy that first started doing pranking stuff with, smile, you're on Candid Camera. They did Hidden Camera Show. It was the very first one, I believe. So, someone had to do that. And this was the dude that did it, Alan Funt. I believe with a F-U-N-T. Funt. It's like a see you next Tuesday, but with an F. Film you next Tuesday. I'm just saying. Albums released on this day. Tom Waits released Blue Valentine in 1978. I don't remember that. I have no recollection of that whatsoever. And that's okay. I'm not going to recall all these things. I may or may not, but I did not recall that whatsoever. Also in 1978, Leonard Skinner released First and Last posthumously because they were dead. Plane crash. So that was the first album that came out afterwards. I did not listen to any Leonard Skinner tonight. I just was not feeling that whole Leonard Skinner vibe this evening. It just didn't happen. Ryan Adams, he released in 2000. What did I write here? Oh, I blew it. Sorry. My handwriting sucks. Something, blah, blah. I can't find it. Sorry, not going to happen. But that was a Ryan Adams release. Heartbreak? Sure, I'm going to go with Heartbreak in 2000. Look, I can only do so much, and my writing skills are questionable at best. Reasonable at worst, questionable at best. I can't read to myself. I should have been a doctor. It's Latin for something. In this day in 1974, David Bowie released. Okay. Wow, I really screwed up. Cracked Action Live in 1974. It was a live album, and it was Cracked something. Wow, I really must have gotten sloppy at the end here. I don't know what the hell went on with that one. All right, I maybe I just will have to write my handwriting better. I told you I would have AI do it, or I would dictate it. But then if it's not me writing it, I'm not going to be able to remember some of the little details about it that I may share that I did read about. Like the next one, were the Smiths. Now, the Smiths released in 1988 Rack. Now, Morrissey didn't like that, didn't want to name it that. He had a different name for it, and or Rank. I'm sorry, it's Rank. It's Rank. Rack. What the hell? I'm like, I can't even read my own words. This was also posthumously, basically. This was after they broke up. Rank, and they wanted to name it something else, and Morrissey wasn't having it. And Morrissey can be moody at best. This was contractually obligated release, so they had to release it. And so the title didn't work. The record label title didn't work, so Morrissey changed it, and he basically told everyone later on that, yes, he named it Rank because it's what he wanted to really name it after the record people was Wank, as in a bunch of wankers that they were. I was like, of course he did. Of course he put a little dig in there. Because he's Morrissey. And that's what he does. Most exciting. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds released Dina this day in 1988 as a single. The single was released on this day. Our friend Elvis, he did Return to Sender on this day, the single in 1962. Now, we already talked about Elvis recorded the song Blue Christmas on this day, but again, not released. It was recorded in 1957 and not released until November of 1964, 7 years later. Not posthumously or anything, just for some reason, much, much later, like SpongeBob. 7 years later. So I could have had that graphic and it would have been funny. I could have just gone 7 years later. So I need a producer. I'll hire one with all those royalties I'm getting from this. Also on this day, in 1991, Queen released These Are the Days of Our Lives. And that's an important one because today is also the birthday of dun, 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 Farouk Balsara. Do you know what Farouk Balsara is? It's Freddie Mercury. That's right. Today is Freddie Mercury's birthday. Also on this day in 2011, Bon Iver, who we've had at the station a couple times. Bon Iver, really nice band. They did Halcyon, single released today. Man, what can I tell you? It was a long day. I had to work in the bushes to cut all those shrubs down. Look at there was a lot of shrubs. I mean, I cut all those down. All those shrubs over here all got cut down. I put them in a pile. I had to cut all this fence down, cut the sign down. It's a lot of work. I wasn't really excited to do it. I was more pissed off than anything. That was sort of like a grudge destruction. I was like, cutting down the thing. It was like, damn, breaking and entering. I was not excited. Just glad they didn't get in the building because there's still enough crap in there that they could have made a real mess of things. So I just don't need that. I don't need more stuff on my plate. I just don't. Really don't. I saw there was a really fun post today, by the way, about the building. Sorry. It wasn't my fault that it's being torn down and a 6-story monolith is being built there. Couldn't sell it to anybody else. Didn't need it for the radio station. Wasn't there. Not my fault. Sorry. That's all I can tell you. Just time marches on. Wish I was still doing it. All right, born on this day, Jon Stewart, not the Jon Stewart, the actor dude, and TV guy Jon Stewart. No, he was with the Kingston Trio, Jon Stewart. He also wrote Daydream Believer for the Monkees, which was a big, huge, successful hit for them. Daydream Believer by the Monkees. So it was written by actually Jon Stewart. Because remember, the Monkees weren't really artists per se. Michael Nesmith, Peter Tork, Davy Jones. Someone could remember Davy Jones the other day. I'm like, he has a locker. It's at the bottom of the sea. Ask SpongeBob. And Michael Nesmith's mom created Post-it notes? Something like that. There's some weird connection there with 3M or something. So what is it? Peter Tork, Michael Nesmith, Davy Jones, and crap. Now I'm gonna be the one that doesn't remember the fourth one. I remember Davy Jones. It'll come to me. Anyway, also born on the day, Loudon Wainwright III. Damn it. Pilot error. Apologies. I just can't see the little numbers. They're tiny and they're right in the corner there. There's a little flappy doodle thing that covers them. So that's what happens. What can I tell you? Pilot error. Pilot error. Those things happen. So, Loudon Wainwright III, born on this day. Again. And then, what? Farouk Bulsara, born on this day. Mr. Freddie Mercury, lead singer of Queen. Do you know he went to graphic arts school? And the Queen logo, if you ever looked at it, he designed that. That was designed by Freddie Mercury. What else? Freddie Mercury. Queen started in 1970 in London. His first band he was in when he was 12. What else? You love this one. When they changed record labels in 1990, and basically Disney owns all of Queen's catalog. Queen's catalog and distribution, because they're still holding on to those rights. They bought them in 1990 for $10 million because they were the record label, but they retained the rights for distribution. $10 million. What would that be worth today? Come on. Bowie, Springsteen sold them for a lot more than that. And Queen, man, someone got the shaft with that one. Just saying. 40 top singles. 40 top singles from that band. 40. That's a huge number. What else? Oh, do you know Freddie Mercury left his estate and all his royalties to Mary Austin? So if you ever saw the Queen movie, basically his on-again, off-again girlfriend, back when he was very young, he left pretty much everything to her. His estate, all his royalties, all his cars, the whole bit, all to Mary Austin. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. Anyway, also born on this day, Terry Ellis from En Vogue. I mean, you gotta love En Vogue. I mean, Groove of the Heart. That's kind of one of those anthems, right? Like Queen with an anthem. We Are the Champions, Bohemian Rhapsody. Just saying. Brad Wilk, born on this day. Brad Wilk was founding member of the band Rage Against the Machine. He was also an audio slave, but Rage Against the Machine, killing in the name of love. Killing in the name of. Yeah, that's a... Rage Against the Machine is a really, really good... I'm going to have to... Did not get a chance to listen to that. I ran out of time, but I'm going to have to throw that into the old cycle of music for tomorrow, I think. Do a little Rage music. I was listening to the Dead Kennedys earlier, and then a little NWO. Yeah, I just, for some reason, I've just got into this whole punk thing, and then, was listening to Sex Pistols, and just got into this very punk thing. And then listened to Queen's Sheer Heart Attack, because I was like, why not? So yeah, very, very upbeat day today. A lot of angst for me to remove, hence why I do your fucking job. Okay? And let's see. Oh, Dweezil Zappa, born on this day. Frank Zappa's kid, Dweezil. I didn't listen to any Frank Zappa today, but I will. I'll listen to Frank Zappa as well. He's always good to listen to. Actors born on this day. There's a couple of ones that are, you got to remember a couple of them. Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart was born on this day. Bob Newhart was in Elf. He was Papa, whatever, that movie Elf, which was kind of funny. The Bob Newhart Show. And he was in a bunch of stuff. Also born on this day, Raquel Welch. Screen Siren, Raquel Welch. 1 Millions BC, I think she was in, and lots of other things. I don't know. I did not have her poster on my wall as a kid, so, I had all music posters as a kid. I didn't have the Farrah Fawcett posters or any of that stuff. That was that. She died in 23, I think, a couple years ago. And then, who else was born on this day? One more. Michael Keaton. We just talked about him. He's 74 today. He was Batman. He was Birdman. What else? Mr. Mom. I think we talked about it was Mr. Mom. We were talking about that. 220, 221, whatever it takes. You got to love that. Michael Keaton. It was a good rendition of that one. And like I said, the only person I wrote down that I saw that died today was Alan Funt. There were some musicians, but the problem is that some of them, they're obscure even to me. And I was like, oh, okay, you're in what band? Or you weren't even a band, you were just a musician, and you played with a lot of bands. You played with Bowie, and there was one that played with Neil Young, and one that played with, the Bee Gees, and one that played. I'm like, okay, but you're nothing against it. They're session musicians, but I don't recognize their name. And if I shared it with you, you wouldn't recognize their name, and it would seem like I'm just really stretching for it. But I was not trying to. So that's why I did not name and list all of them. Okay? There it is. Hot Times is happening right now. I did not make it because I did not get home till way late tonight. And I'm sad. I'm sad because I missed my friend Willie Phoenix playing 9 o'clock on the stage this evening at Hot Times. So if you aren't going to the football game tomorrow or Sunday and you want to go see some live music, Hot Times in Old Town East at the corner of Parsons and Main. I believe it's free to get in. There's going to be adult beverages. There's going to be food and lots of live music and crafts, and brought to you by the same folks who bring Comfest. So definitely check it out. Again, like I said, I was really excited to go down tonight, but did not make it due to the fact that my day was delayed by a few hours, having to deal with, the whole radio station building. Still with me, still hanging in there, still dragging it around, chained to my ankle. A few more months. I may take up drinking on that day, just so you know. That would be the day to do it. If I'm going to fall off the wagon, that's the bump I'm going to hit to do it. Just be done with it already. But then, yes. And then next week, like I said, next week is 934 Festival. I'll see if I can find the lineups. How about that? I'll find the lineups and put them up. I'm working on more graphics. I had some pictures at least today. Because again, like I said last night, I was trying to read and find out about the fair usage, what I can get away with, how far I can push before YouTube, gives me that smackdown. I don't need the smackdown from YouTube. Because the problem is if they delete the account, we would lose all the videos from the radio station that we had. Because we did that once before, just so you know. And I cannot tell you the angst and the pain and suffering that was induced by that occurrence. Not realizing that everything was connected to a single Gmail account. And when you delete the Gmail account, everything connected with it goes. So just keep that in mind. If you have a Gmail account that's connected to your things and you erase that account, everything that's connected to, all your photos, everything in the past, they just immediately delete it. They're like, nope, we don't, nothing saved. No, you can't get it back. You deleted it. It's all gone. It's like, wait, what? It's like, we didn't even know that. It didn't say, if you delete this email account, everything is... No, we didn't get that big warning, like flashing red lights that said, you're about to lose everything you ever did. Millions of views. Nope. The original, nope. Nothing. And we didn't have backup. What can I tell you? Okay, shit that went on 35 years ago, it got recorded and got saved in one place, and I don't know where the other stuff is. It's probably on a reel to reel somewhere, or on a video cassette that we have no ability to download anymore because no one has that stuff. I don't know. Somewhere over the rainbow, far, far away. All right, so see, that was less painful, right? We didn't talk about the Napoleonic War, and I didn't talk about something that happened in 1940 and acts of Congress, and I just avoided that. I'm just completely moving past that, and I'm going to try and not do this. Like I said, unless it's something really exciting to me and something funny and so forth and so on. That's it. That's all there is. I can't do the news thing. I just can't. I can barely read it, let alone deal with it. I can't even go through Facebook anymore now because I'm just like, so if I missed your birthday, sorry. I did not mean to. It's just because I can't even read it. Everything that pops up is like, it's so polarized. It's this and this. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, just go back to posting pictures of puppies, okay, and cats. Really. I don't want to seem misinformed and all, but holy crap. It just seems so depressing. I just can't deal with it in my life right now. It's just, real life is a shitbag enough. I don't need more edit on. I don't need to be like, oh, hey, my life could be. No, I don't need any of that. I'm just going to go on and pretend I'm an ostrich and put my head in the sand and just be like, screw it. On that note, screw it. I'm going to go on the couch. Oh my God, I slept like crap last night. I woke up like 6 o'clock this morning. I'm not sure why. And again, I didn't go to bed till like 2. So it just was one of those days. And I'm not exhausted. I'm just ready to go. I have no idea what's going on. But tomorrow is a home football game. It's a Grambling State, I think, at like 3:30. So campus will be a little crazy. Not like it was last week with Texas. So I'll be strolling around, go down to the game and go check out all the stuff in my neighborhood, do some work, and then I'll work all day Sunday. Maybe I'll make it down to Hot Times tomorrow night, but I have to get back for this. I'll have to see what the lineup is, and then Sunday as well. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you so greatly. Mark Bobson. Hi, Mark Bobson. How are you? He says, hi, Randy. Hi, Mark. First time here? Welcome aboard. You got here toward the end. You got here at 11:38. And what time is it now? Oh, crap. It's 11:38. So you just got here. Oh, all right. Well, I'm just about done. I do this every night. This is episode 97. So you've missed 97 of these. The first 95 were shite. It was all sorts of stuff. And I'm narrowing it down to music and things that occur. So I'm trying to get it a little better handle on it. But I appreciate you being here. Come back tomorrow. I'll be here every night, 11 o'clock, my normal time. Not everybody's normal time, but some people watch it the next day. And I'm like, that's okay. Watch it whenever you want. You can watch it historically. Don't care. You're never late. You're absolutely not late. There's no such thing as being late. You're here now, and that's all that matters. You can watch it afterwards. You can give me your critiques tomorrow. I need critiques. Otherwise it's, as I always said, people are like, when they talked about DJs, like, well, that's such an easy job. I was like, actually, it's not. Because to do their shift day after day without any feedback, not knowing if your jokes are, falling flat or if you're doing something that people are amused by, is very hard. It's not that easy to keep that motivation up. So it does require, especially when it's like a solo practitioner, like, our DJs didn't have producers. So a solo practitioner, very hard for them to do that on a day-to-day basis, to not have feedback and not know if they're, swing and a miss. Until later, people are like, oh, that was so funny. Oh, was it? Okay, I didn't know. I wasn't sure. Didn't sure how that went over because no feedback. Anyway, 3 moves to take to a desert island. Oh, I don't know. 3 moves to take to a desert island? Crap. What the hell? I don't know. You asked me way too fast. I'd have to think about that one. Because I've seen a lot of movies. I don't know. Something I wouldn't mind watching over and over again. A desert island. Oof. I'll think about that one for tomorrow. I'll write it down. 3 movies for a desert island. 3 movies, desert island. I'm not going to be able to read that, right? Because my handwriting's so crappy. It's just shite. All of it. It's just shite. Anyway, Mark Bobson, thanks for coming. Other people that are here, appreciate you being here. Enjoy your Saturday. Hopefully you're going to do something fun. I don't think we're going to get rain now. They said a chance of rain. I thought we were going to get rain. I don't think we are. So enjoy your Saturday. Have a great day. Get outdoors. It's going to become winter soon. Christmas decorations are up at Lowe's, as I said. And, get your Halloween decorations out. I might do that tomorrow. I'm debating on that. Just saying. Have a great one. Thank you so much. We will do as we always do at the end and just fade to black. I see a red door and I want to not fade to black, paint it black. But that's neither here nor there. Ending stream.